Welcome, one and all. Welcome into the channel. My name's Craig, and this is where we put the spotlight onto German football. Why German football, I hear you ask? It's a great question. It's been a journey of discovery of mine since the early 90s, when it was exotic, very similar to this shell suit top that I'm wearing. We had the World Cup in 1990, won by West Germany by, I think it was an Andreas Bremner penalty quite late on, 84th, 85th minute. But outside of that, we didn't have the internet that we've got today. We had a 56k modem which kicked in the late 90s, early broadband in the kind of mid 2000s. But actually getting access to German football was hard. Yes, Eurosport had Euro goals on a Monday night, but I don't recall them ever really covering German football. They covered Austrian football, I remember that, and always the French and the Italian and the Spanish, but I don't recall them ever really covering German football. So my exposure came through video games, the likes of Sensible Soccer, early versions of Championship Manager, which started to include all the sort of Central European leagues. And then Euro 96, where if you backtrack slightly, some of the heroes of Otto Hitzfeld, 95 winning Borussia Dortmund team, were starting to appear on this I say global stage of the European tournament, but like they were in the spotlight, I think Matthias Sammer was a Ballon d'Or in that year as well. And in the following year, John Collins, the Scotsman, scores that amazing chip over the keeper to win Dortmund the Champions League. And as it was in its OG format, I should say. It's been a journey of discovery, like a Katamari Damacy ball, really, that with every year it starts to get bigger and richer and carries more momentum. With every country I travel to, there's always an itch to go and find the local stadium, to talk to the people, to pick up some merchandise. Football it's got its own love language, right? It's like food, it's like music, it's like movies. Everywhere you go, we can all find somebody else. We always find some what I once wrote about at university, some cultural currency in talking about football. And there's no richer place than in the Bundesliga and beyond, across the whole of Germany. I spent last summer, travelling around. I actually went from Germany and across to Austria to watch some games. And the people I met were brilliant, and just looking at admiring the pyros and the tifos and drinking the beer, and the fact that you can sit down and drink your beer in your seat, because of course we can't be trusted to do that in the UK. It's just, it's one of those phenomenons. It's one of those those little gems that you find, and it's the whole purpose of this channel, if I achieve nothing else, is just to introduce you to the sometimes weird but the wonderful world of German football. So the plan is not to take it too seriously, because as you might have picked up on, I try not to. So the idea will be that every week we'll do a preview show of the matches that are coming up, which just incidentally, and again I will cover this in a future video, but there are 18 teams in the Bundesliga, which means that every Spieltag, every match day, there's at least 9 games going on. And they're pretty consistent, actually, which is very different to say that the Premier League and all the Championship and the EFL in the UK. The Bundesliga games usually take place over Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And again, I will be adding more of my rudimentary grasp of the German language into this as we go on this journey. But so the Bundesliga games are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll be doing a preview show. The games will happen, and then we'll pick up the following week. If not on a Monday or a Tuesday, we'll do a review of what happened. We'll see how close or how far out, most likely the latter, my predictions have been. We'll cover off on some interesting player profiles. We'll look at the Champions League content. Well, we'll look at the potential overall winners, but we'll look at the Champions League contenders, the other teams that are in the running for European spots. That's for the Europa and for the Conference League, and then we'll look at the relegation, because it's a fascinating. They handle relegation similar to what they do in Scotland and some other European countries, where you have to play a relegation decider, which seems a cruel way to end the season. In terms of drama, though, it's rich. Like I say, and that's just one of the many multifaceted edges of the diamond that glistens for me, and which has just captured my imagination over the many years. So again, the plan with this channel is to introduce you to, so putting the spotlight onto the German football, and join it with me. And again, if there's a certain team you want me to kind of go into into more detail down the rabbit hole in, please leave those comments below. If there's anything that's on your mind, please. I hope that some of you will like and eventually subscribe to this channel. Again, I'm not going to take it too seriously, but hopefully the passion that I've got for it is going to come across. So let's cover Spieltag 23. Yeah, Spieltag 23. So Spieltag 23, or Matchday 23, kicked off on Friday. The fixture was SC Freiburg versus SV Werder Bremen. Going into that fixture, Freiburg were in 5th and Bremen were in 10th. Actually, if you focus on Bremen for a second, the second half of the season, or just after the sort of winter break, which again, full stop, FYI, interesting thing about German football and many other, I would argue, intelligent Central European leagues, they take a pause around the holiday time, Christmas, New Year, and then heading into January, February. They're smart enough to go, do you know what? It's a holiday time. These are humans. They need to spend time with family. The weather conditions are pretty adverse. In some countries it's minus numbers, there's snow. It's just going to make things awkward, not just for the players and the players' safety, but the logistics of fans getting to and from games around that time of the year when it's dark, it's cold, it's snowing, etc. So they just take a pause, and then they resume back in January, sometimes early February time. So again, the point I'm trying to make is we could learn a lot from that here in the UK. Anyway, political rant over, because it is all about the money. So the first half of the season, Bremer, unbelievable. Ollie Werner, that's the manager's name. Yeah, he tuned the team up really well. They were getting some great results, and there was talk recently about pushing for European places, which has well and truly bitten him in the arse, considering that they got hammered 5-0 last night away to Freiburg. Now, I'm fortunate that here in the UK, a lot of these Bundesliga games are broadcast on Sky. They're also streamed live on Sky as well on their YouTube channel. So I'm just for a combination, or just for your background, right? So for a combination of having a Sky subscription and then being able to follow the games on YouTube, on the Bundesliga.com, on the website and through the app, and just watching other subscription services like OneFootball, for example, I'm able to follow and actually watch most of these games live as they happen. And I'm saying all this because of the kind of commentary that I like to provide, or not necessarily commentary, but the feedback on the games and the performances of teams and players is actually based on observations in real time. Some of these fixtures, I'll be honest, hands up now, I can't, and I'll never bluff and try and blag my way through it because it doesn't suit me. So again, coming back to the Freitag game between Freiburg and Wolfsburg, it was one-way traffic. I don't know if Freiburg managed to take the lead quite early on the 15th minute from an absolute screamer, a worldie, a worldie of a goal from a defender. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Go onto YouTube, go onto Bundesliga.com, go somewhere and find this goal from Kylian Salilia. Honestly, this guy's a defender. In fact, if I just pull up his actual positioning, he's a right back. Right, Christ, if the right back at my team is scoring a wonder goal like that, he's on the team sheet every week. Not just for his defending, but honestly, you check it out, right? So 15th minute, Werder go 1-0 down. Yeah, you can argue that Ollie Werner's shouting from the sidelines. He's doing the equivalent at that point in Football Manager language as "I demand more." Like, give me more, lads. And it just didn't. There was no luck of the break for them. Freiburg then go 2-0 up with this, again, quite a sumptuous free kick from Vincenzo Grifo. And at that point, you're thinking, well, yeah, it's game over. And then I know where the guy that scores the worldie, Celilia, there's a handball, there's a VAR decision, the penalty is awarded, and the new man that's come in from RB Leipzig, the Portuguese striker Andre Silva, he steps up, and you're thinking, right, you can get off your account now. This, I think, was his first full 90 minutes for the club, albeit away from home. I don't think he hasn't made a full start in a Werder Bremen shirt at home yet, I don't think, anyway. But again, please, in the comments, you're welcome to correct me on everything, by the way. Like I say, it's a whimsical channel. I try not to take myself too seriously, but I do genuinely care about German football. Anyway, so yeah, penalties awarded, Silva steps up, and unfortunately, he's up against Noah Atabulu. Again, I play a lot of FM, Football Manager 24, because, of course, Football 25 has been cancelled. Anyway, check him out on FM. Noah Atabolo is an awesome goalkeeper. You probably, depending upon which phase of the season you are, because you probably start off in August of 23, you can pick him up for probably between 18 and 10 million. Anyway, wonder keeper. I looked at his stats. Apparently, he saved 8 penalties already this season. So, Silva, in his second competitive game for Brenner, yeah, it's a striker. You're probably thinking that, going, okay, this guy's pretty good in goal. And of course, yeah, Atabulu did just save it. He punched the thing. Like, how audacious is that? Like, punched it away after, by the way, giving it the whole Bruce Grobbelaar spaghetti legs, disco fever, Saturday Night Fever routine in the goal. Anyway, so it's penalty's been saved, and again, FYI, I'm quite pedantic about that as a former goalkeeper. Yeah, I was only 5'9", but whatever, right? Didn't make it as pro, broke my wrist in a football trial, but move on from that. I'm really pedantic about when you read his penalty was missed. Wasn't missed. He didn't miss the penalty, did he? It was saved. So let's try and rally behind and give the plaudits to the goalkeepers, right? As a member of the goalkeepers union, he didn't miss that penalty. It was saved. Anyway, half-time rolls around, they're 2-0 down, you're thinking, right, second half, make some substitutions, introduce Marvin Dushk, introduce the Duck, see what happens, and they get 3-0 down after another goal. Got it. They go 3-0 down after another goal from Vincenzo Grifo, which, if you watch it back, you'll see that, there was no marking. It was a sweaty goal there, and we'll give it the EAFC moniker. It was an attack down the right from Doan, I believe, who then squares the ball. There's no marking. Grifo's just free to strike the ball into pretty much an empty net. And at 3-0, you're thinking, yeah, that's it. Heads are gone. Ritsu Doan is a very handy, what do you call him? What do you call him? Inside forward? Winger? Either way, pick whichever one's appropriate for you. Again, we're using a lot of FM language today. Ritsu Doan strokes one in from just inside the box, sort of 18 yards, which, you'd argue that Zetner should have done better. It's 4-0, and then into the dying embers of the game, there's a slight deflection after a shot from Doan, it goes and it's 5-0. So, overall, not a great performance from Werder, and certainly like a million miles away from any potential European places, which of course has been all their talk. Just on a side note, go and check out Real Niko, if there's any Werder Bremen fans out there. Yeah, okay, he does speak in his naturalised German mother tongue. The comments are interesting though, and again, you can always go into the translate feature on YouTube and see what people say. But yeah, it was an outstanding 10-minute rant that Real Niko gave last night on his YouTube channel, which, to be fair, and again, I don't know how familiar some of my viewers are of what goes on in German football. Well, certainly not just German football, but certainly kind of around the European football. But at full time, the players will go to stand in front of their fans and usually just take as much criticism as they can get. It's almost like it's invited on, right? It's like a dressing down or an audit, if you like, of the fans, of the players' performance. Now, if you win and you're at home and you're in front of your home fans, then They can't cover you in enough cheese and honey. Cheese and honey? Anyway, whatever. Bratwurst and beer. There you go. Bratwurst and wheat beer. But if you're away and you've lost, and you've been absolutely hammered, like Werder were. If I was Ollie Werner, I would have taken Real Niko's 10-minute YouTube clip and just played it in that dressing room and gone, right, this is the reason that you wear that jersey. Anyway, so, yeah. Freitag, Spieltag 23, that game ends 5-0 to Freiburg, which actually moves them up into 4th, which is a potential Champions League place. But, of course, there's a whole bunch of games that are coming over Saturday and Sunday, which are Samstag and Sonntag. I believe that's right. Yeah, Samstag and Sonntag, Saturday, Sunday. So let's get into some of that preview material for Spieltag 23. First up in the preview for Spieltag 23 on Samstag on the Saturday is the fixture between Borussia Mönchengladbach and Augsburg. Again, I'm going to butcher some pronunciation, so please, all I ask is that you're patient with me. Yeah, so the game at the Borussia Park should be quite tasty. Actually, coming into this fixture, if we just look at the standings, Gladbach are in 8th with 34 points, and Augsburg are down in 12th with 28. Now, Augsburg are turning into something of a draw specialist, along with Bayer Leverkusen. They've drawn 7 of their 22 games so far this season. In fact, the last 3 games have all been draws, actually. Whereas if you contrast that with Gladbach, actually their last 5 games they've won 3. So this should be an exciting fixture, actually. Of course, Borussia Mönchengladbach, if I recall, once knocked Arsenal out of the UEFA Cup. I want to say 95, 96 season, I think it was. Again, comments below if you need to correct me. I'm pretty sure that was the first time we ever saw Arsene Wenger sat in the stands. Of course, he wasn't in charge of that team. He was there just to, I guess, monitoring and get a feel for it. And I'm pretty sure he was in the dressing room pre and post match. But yeah, that was one of the first times that I can remember seeing him in the flesh, thinking that's the new guy, that's the professor. And little did we all know that he was going to change the whole face of football in England as we knew it. Certainly with the diets and cutting out the booze culture. Yeah, it's interesting enough, Stefan Effenberg was in the midfield. In fact, he ran the midfield across both of those legs. Again, we're talking about the OG setup or the OG infrastructure for the UEFA Cup back then. None of this, I would say none of this league nonsense, which was replacing a set of league nonsense. But no, that was literally, it's a bunch of, 64 ties? And we got knocked out. I say we as Arsenal, because I do have what does Pieface refer to it as? An enthusiast, I would like to refer to myself as an Arsenal enthusiast. Anyway, lost 6-4 over 2 legs, and I'm pretty sure Stefan Effenberg scored in both those games, but he completely owned the midfield. And I guess we should also point out that Gladbach they're up there, along with Bayern Munich as being one of the most decorated teams of German football. They've won 3 titles. I think it's 3, yeah. Is that right? Yes, 3 titles and a bunch of DFB Pokals, which is the German equivalent of the FA Cup. And I should also add that Gladbach have won 2 UEFA Cups as well. So yeah, but a pretty well revered, well decorated team. Going into this fixture in terms of players to look out for, and again, I'm not ashamed to say that I do have some notes here in front of me. Players to look out for Augsburg would be Frank Onyeki, defensive midfielder from Nigeria. Yeah, just keep an eye out for him. And then the number 20 as well for Augsburg, the attacking. Is it Alexei? Yeah, Alexei Claude Maurice. Yeah, Claude Maurice. Anyway, attacking midfielder who's It's very tight, ball control, very technical skills. Had a great game last time out. And then for Gladbach, please take a look for Tim Kleindist. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, the striker Tim Kleindist. He scored 14 times this season. In fact, he scored in his last 5 games. Also for Gladbach, and I didn't want you to miss out on this, is number 25, Robin Hack. Robin Hack, who once of Hoffenheim, again one of the most one of the most hated teams in the Bundesliga, up there certainly along with Leipzig. Once played for Hoffenheim. He's now on the left winger for Gladbach, and so far in 21 appearances this season, he's scored twice and he's created 4 goals. Or what do they call it now? We don't call it assist, do we? We call it, is it goal involvements? There you go. So in 21 games, he's had 6 goal involvements, 2 of which are his own strikes. Please look out for Robin Hack. Think about where this game's going to end up and make a prediction. I'm going to say that Gladbach will win this 2-1. Yeah, there you go. Let's make a note of that and revisit that next week. Yeah, so that's Gladbach versus Augsburg. Mainz, the 05ers, playing at home at the Mauer, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, the Mauer Stadium against FC St. Pauli. Mainz come into this game in 6th place. That's on the back of a 2-0 win over relegation-threatened Heidenheim, whereas St. Pauli, they lost their last game 1-0 to Freiburg. And actually, in fact, out of their last 5, they've lost the last 2. So, but if you look at the table, though, they have 22 points. Below them in 15th are Hoffenheim with 21. And then you've got Bochum, Heidenheim and Holstein Kiel pretty much all scrapping it out for the relegation places. So it feels like it's going to be a must-win game for St. Pauli, or certainly just don't lose, which is tough really. Because if you look at the firepower that Mainz have got, which again there's no surprise in there, they're up in 6th. They've got that lethal combination up front of Jonathan Burkout and Nelson Viper. Nelson Viper, by the way, great striker on FM 24. Pick him up cheap, loan him out, work on his development, train him up, and he will just smash the goals in. In terms of other players to watch out for in the respective lineups, I would say, Danny Da Costa. Yeah, I quite like him. He's the right back for Mainz. Yeah, he's got an engine on him. He likes to get up and down, can put in a cross, but also quite a formidable tackler. And then switching teams, if you look at the guys that play at the Milan Tour, FC St. Pauli, they've got the Socceroos midfielder Jackson Irvine, who's it's had a bit of a roller coaster of a season. Like I say, they are down in 14th, and the other outstanding player in that St. Pauli team would be the striker Jonas Egerstein. If we take a quick look at his stats for the season, he's played 21 games and he's had 7 goal assists. He's scored 3 times and he's laid 4 on. So that that implies he's quite an unselfish striker. In terms of my prediction for the game, I'm going to go to Mainz win. I'm going to say 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 Mainz home win. Be interesting to check that back when we do the review show next week. So that was Mainz 05. Once home to a certain Jurgen Klopp. Just before I forget to add in that nugget of information, he was both a striker and a defender for the club. He went on to manage them, and after a number of seasons battling it out, just missing out on promotion, he finally did it in the 2004 season. Yeah, they went up, spent a couple of years up in the Bundesliga, went back down, but then actually from, what does that make it? So from 2008-09, they've pretty much been a regular fixture in the Bundesliga ever since. That's Mainz with a predicted home win against SC St. Pauli on this Samstag. Another Samstag fixture in the Bundesliga is Wolfsburg versus VfL Bochum. VfL Bochum are coming into this game on the back of quite a remarkable 2-0 home win to Dortmund. Dortmund, under the new stewardship of Niko Kovac, are in all sorts of problems. I mean, they've just advanced to the next knockout phase of the Champions League after that 3-0 victory over Sporting Lisbon over 2 legs. Sporting, by the way, just looked looked cooked. Yeah, in fact, they didn't even bother. Can I say that? Yeah, didn't even bother to field Victor Gokeres, and it was almost like they turned up and like, this is done. we'll just take the money and get out of here, thanks. Anyway, so yeah, tricky times for Dortmund, but we'll come back to them in a bit. But yeah, Wolfsburg at home at the Volkswagen Arena. Now, actually, I've been there. I went there last summer. I saw Wolfsburg play Munich, and the appeal of that was all the English players, the ex-Premier League players that were in that team. In fact, if I remember, Bayern Munich were 1-0 up. Wolfsburg came back to take a 2-1 lead. I think both goals were from Amora. Again, please comment below to make any corrections, and again, feel free to do that at any time. Anyway, yeah, Bayern Munich surrendered a 1-0 lead to Wolfsburg. It was 2-1, and then there was a complete turnaround when Thomas Muller came on, and basically Muller, Gnabry came on, and Munich went 3-2. I think Gnabry's goal, there was an assist for Harry Kane. In fact, where I was, stood with all the ultras behind the goal, which was like just scintillating experience. I was pretty close to Harry Kane. Yeah, I did let him know what I thought of him. And of course, yeah, he's turned out to be a powerhouse. So I just score in every single week, or pretty much every single week. Anyway, so yeah, Wolfsburg, VfL Bochum at the Volkswagen Arena. Interesting enough, the whole place smelt of plastic, which I assume is because of the huge Volkswagen manufacturing plant that's there. In fact, I'm going to drop some photos, not just of that fixture, but from my sort of European tour around Germany and Austria. I'm going to drop those photos onto Instagram, and there will be a link to the Instagram in the description below. But yeah, let's focus on this game. So Wolfsburg, Bochum coming into this fixture. Like I say, Bochum won 2-0 out to Dortmund. Let's just quickly take another look at the notes to see where these people are in the table and see what their form's been. Yeah, Bochum. So at their last 5, they've only won once, but it was a big victory. In fact, they're down in 17th. So that's the trapdoor is pretty much wide open. Having said that, they're on the same points as Heidenheim in 16th. And again, there's 18 teams in the Bundesliga. The bottom 2, that's 18th and 17th. You trapdoor opens, you drop straight down. And the 16th place plays off against it can't be the winner. It must be the second, or maybe it is the winner of the Zweite Bundesliga 2. So it's like a playoff where it's like one match, winner takes all. What a cruel way to end a season. But on the flip side, what great drama! What fantastic TV! Congratulations for the Bundesliga for instituting that one. So yeah, it's tricky at the minute. What is there? 12 games if you include today? 11 games left. Plenty of points on offer. I think it's going to be a struggle today against Wolfsburg, who are up in 9th. And, in terms of players to look out for, Wolfsburg have got Jonas Lind, the Danish striker, who some of you may know from Football Manager. Great player, by the way. What's he done this season? This season, he's had, what are we calling it, goal involvement. So he's had 11 goal involvements in 20 games. Basically, he scored 8 times, and he's sort of laid on. He's made 3 assists. So he's a big lad, right? He's a big unit. He's someone that you can rely on. I believe he's a deep line forward on FM. Yeah, if you look at his physicality and his height, yeah, he definitely fits that mould. And he's backed up by Matthias Sandberg and Aster Vranks. I've probably mispronounced that one. What a name, by the way. Aster Vranks, who's the Belgian central midfielder. Again, bit of a powerhouse, good at tackling, very strong, lays the ball off. Interestingly, he was on loan at AC Milan last year. Was it last year or a year before? So he's got to have some minerals, right? If he's playing at that height. He's also played several times for Belgium. So it's a solid Wolfsburg team. And if we take a look at what Bochum have got. They've got the Greek guy up front. I'm going to mispronounce this one. Masouras. He scored anyway. Masouras. Yeah, Masouras. Yeah. Anyway, whatever his name is, he scored twice last week against Dortmund, and his strike partner is again kind of a talisman really in Philip Hoffman. Hoffman, yeah, like big, tall, strong boy. He seems to be involved in every single attack going forward. And again, because the Bundesliga games are either live or they're streamed across Sky and on Sky Sports on the YouTube app. I've seen quite a lot of Bochum this season. Again, just random fact. Last summer, as part of my tour, I went to, arguably the most hated club in the Bundesliga, which is RB Leipzig. Great stadium, by the way. Again, photos will be on Instagram. But they were playing Bochum that day. In fact, I can't remember what it said, but like I was sat behind the goal, opposite the ultras, but just to my right was the away fans. Christ, they make a lot of noise, and they had a great banner, which again I'll have to make a note of that. I'll definitely link to a photo of it. And I've got Sissoko, who's again another strong midfielder. So, where do I think this one's going to go? If you look at the win predictor, or like WinViz as they call it to be fancy, I think the odds are slightly in favour of Wolfsburg. Bochum know how to score though, and they certainly know how to scrap. And scrap is basically the order of the day for them in order to avoid relegation. And again, Wolfsburg are managed by, is it Ralph Huttenhofer? I always pronounce that wrong. He's been in charge of Southampton a couple of years ago during their dismal but survival. Did they survive that year? No, they didn't. They went down. And who took over after him? The guy that's now in charge of Hull City, which is my local club, which is just around the corner. Ruben Selles. Yeah, what a small world we live in. Anyway, Wolfsburg, VfL Bochum. I'm going to go 3-2 home win. There you go. That'll please Rise, football paradise. So yeah, that's Wolfsburg versus Bochum. No, it's not Holstein Pils, it's Holstein Kiel. Holstein Kiel play at home to last season's Invincibles. That's Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen. It's not quite going to plan for Holstein Kiel this season. Currently languishing down the wrong end of the table. Actually, the bottom. Yeah. So after 22 games, they've only amassed 13 points. In fact, their last game out was I should know this because I watched it. Watched it on TV. They lost 3-1 to Frankfurt. Actually, it was quite a spirited performance in that second half. Frankfurt, they were just leagues ahead. But then Kiel came back to make it 3-1, and you thought, do you know what? If you'd have scored 10 minutes before that, I think it was around the 70th minute? If you'd have scored on the hour mark, that gives you another 30 minutes to try and turn that game around. But anyway, they're a plucky team. Again, they play in the north. It's a port city. It's a bit like Hamburg in a way, a bit like Hull, which is where I live. Yeah, so they play in the north part of Germany. It's going to be a thankless task trying to keep Leverkusen out. Having said that, Leverkusen come into this off the back of a 0-0 draw with Bayern Munich, and that gap at the top of the table between them and Munich is what we're looking at now. Is it? Take that away, 9 points. Yeah, 8 points. Sorry, 8 points, and of course Bayern Munich play later on as well. Everyone knows what who was in that Leverkusen team. So let's just focus for a second on some of the stars of the plucky Holstein Kiel. So you've got the creative midfielder Armin Gigovic. He's scored 3 times this season, and he's just instrumental at trying to set up their attacks. Again, it's hard yards, but that guy, the Swedish midfielder, he's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of technical ability, and he's doing his best to try and set goals up where he can. And then the other person of note is probably Philip Harris. Again, let's just have a quick look at his data this season. So 16 matches, he scored 7, right? So he is, in fact he did. Yeah, I remember this. They played Dortmund. They beat Dortmund 4-3, right? A couple of weeks back. So again, let's call them a plucky surprise package. However, I honestly can't see them. I can't see them getting much out of this game today. Especially not when you look at that lineup. I mean, Leverkusen, both the likes of Florian Wirtz. You've got Schick, who's 14 goals already this season, so he's up there as one of the Czech strikers, one of the top goal scorers. You've got Xhaka. Actually, Robert Andrich, I believe, is in the lineup for today as well. I've not seen him in a while. He was sporting some rather tasty Gaudi coloured hair in the Euros last summer. You got Frimpong on one side, Grimaldo on the other. So yeah, I honestly, Adley's actually playing up front today for a change. Yeah, I can just see Leverkusen not steamrolling Kiel. I can see this being a definite away win. Let's go 3-0. There you go. That's my prediction for not Holstein Pils, but Holstein Kiel at home to Bayer Leverkusen. It'd be 3-0 for the away team, and that'll help them close the gap on Bayern Munich at the top of the table. And to wrap up the Samstag fixtures is the evening kickoff between Borussia Dortmund from the Westfalen Stadion. Definitely on my bucket list. They're playing at home to Union Berlin, and the Iron Knights, as is their nickname, are going to need some courage, because even though both sides are coming to this with a lack of form, I should say, with both sides having lost their last two games, it's Dortmund, right? You know, and they have such a stellar lineup, I mean, what's that saying? They're forever the bridesmaid and never the bride. I mean, they choked a couple of years ago, last day of the season, when it was theirs. You know, that would have been Jude Bellingham signing off in style before he went to join Real Madrid, and they blew it, and Bayern Munich won it in the last few minutes, right? But you know, that's football, that's the drama, and that's why I love, and I want you to fall in love with German football as we put the spotlight on it too. But let's take a more detailed look at the last few fixtures. So Union Berlin are coming to this on the back of a 2-1 home loss in their cottage. Yeah, I think that's how it roughly translates, right? It's the people that live in the hut in the cottage. Sorry, in the forest. That's it. Yeah, it's the guy in the hut in the forest. And actually, it's a fascinating story which I would love to get into another video, but effectively, you know, the membership of Union Berlin saved them by giving blood and literally rolling up their sleeves and building that ground so that it was upgraded and it met all the specifications of basically being able to compete in the Bundesliga. So yeah, you've got to doff your cap to the Union Berlin massive. So they're coming to this game away to Dortmund on the back of a 2-1 home loss to Gladbach. And as we've covered through a previous shout out in this video, Dortmund lost away to VfL Bochum 2-0. So yeah, and also if you look at the table, they're pretty well matched, to be fair. Dortmund currently in the 11th, 29 points, and then two places below them in 13th at Union Berlin on 24. So you know, there's a lot to play for. If you look at the stars, or what I would consider the star players to look out for, in the Union Berlin side, you've got the midfielder Rani Kadiri, which, it is the younger brother of Sammy that used to play for Real Madrid. So you've got Rami Kadiri, and you've got Ain't No Holler Back now. Yes, that was terrible, wasn't it? Absolutely terrible. Let me just bring it up so we can talk about him properly. Oh, where's it gone? Yeah. The Benedict Hollerback, there you go. 6 goals from midfield, but he can also play as a centre forward. So yeah, I can see him with Benedict with his tight curls being a threat in this game. And then he's up against a Dortmund side, which, you know, it's just on paper, it should be a lot higher than what it is in the Bundesliga currently. They should be absolutely pushing for at least third, if not second. They should be pushing by Leverkusen and you know, trying to go for Champions League. As it is this year, there's not a lot really to play for, he says. Well, domestically anyway. I think they are still in the DFB Pokal again. Comment below to make any corrections. Yes, they're still in the Champions League, but how much of that is going to distract their league form? Or actually, do they go, do you know what? We'll draw a line under it. We brought Niko Kovac in as the boss. We're just going to steady this, see this out, and plan for next season where we can hopefully go on another assault. And that's in the hope that they manage to keep on to what they've got. So, you know, standout players for Dortmund. I mean, I could just list the whole 11, but I'm a big fan of the Austrian in midfield, Marcel Sabitzer. He's only played 9 times because he's been injured this season. You've got Julian Brand, who's the cam, the central attacking midfielder. You've got Adeyemi, who's literally one of the fastest people in football. Out on the right with these beautiful disco hair, and they're all backed up, and they're all trying to feed, I should say, Serhou Girassi, who was playing for Gladbach, I believe, last season. He's prolific this year. 10 goals in the Champions League, 9 goals in the Bundesliga. Plus, he's quite comfortable laying the ball off. So even though both sides are coming to this game in mixed form, my prediction would be a 1-0 home win, actually, to Dortmund. And I'd probably even go as far to say it'll be from a set piece. It'll be from a penalty. There you go. That's me being bally. Right, so I'm going Dortmund, 1-0 home win, Girassi, penalty. Boom. So I think we'll wrap it up here for part 1, because I'm conscious that we've slipped past the 30-minute mark, and that's gone way beyond all my ambitions for this very first video. So if you have made it this far, I am extremely grateful, and not one to, you give an inch and I'll take a mile, or whatever that is in metric. Not wanting to be too greedy, but if you could find it in your heart to leave a like. And then ultimately, I don't expect you to do that today, but at some point in the future, if you could subscribe as well. Well, if you did subscribe, then you would know when part 2 was going to drop, right? Which would be brilliant. And by all means, leave any comments, especially corrections, because there might have been some little details that I've got wrong. Again, hey, I'll put my hand up. I am passionate about this project. I've been following German football for, like I say, for many, many years, a couple of decades now, but that doesn't mean I know everything, right? And again, you should never trust anybody that claims to know everything, because they're blagging, right? But there's a difference between blagging and blagging with passion, and that's what I'm trying to do here, right? I'm trying to convey to you the weird and the wonderful, the unique, all the quirks that come with a league, which I guess for many of you will be quite exotic, like it was for me, all those years ago. So again, we'll wrap up here for part 1. Part 2 will be coming soon, because there's still 3 more games on Sonntag as part of Spieltag 23. Sorry. So yeah, thank you so much. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you in part 2. Auf Wiedersehen.